Hello, good morning and happy building. This is the second part of my series about how I built my new map. In this episode I show you how I built some of the decor. If you're interested on seeing how I built the facade, then please have a look at the video which I link here. So let's start. So since my last video, the map had a big progress. I built an entrance area with a reception, 2 studios with green screens, a big auditorium for live audience, a cutting room and 1 place where they can mix the audio tracks. So let me show you how I built some of the items. The video camera. So I usually start from the bottom and I first built the wheels of the video camera. So for this I make the wheel, make it black and then turn it around. Of course it should be a bit smaller, and if you use the green cube in the middle it will be much smaller. And then I copy into 3 pieces. I often flip things because it's easier to build it the other way around. You see, like this. And put this one on top and then adding the wheels. Next one, and the third one. Now I group everything so that I can flip it back to the original side, like this. This cube here will become the original camera. I make it a bit smaller into the right size. Yeah, that looks good. And black is maybe a better color for it. Then I choose a triangle because I want the front not to be so much rectangle. And if you put the snap motors on, it's very easily to adjust it in a way that it fits seamless on to the rest of the camera, like this. Looks pretty good. Now it should become black. At the right side I want to add a screen. So for this I make this column, make it longer, like this, turn it around and this way, and add it like. For the actual screen I use a cube like this, make it flat. If you build things a bit bigger and then size it down, make sure that you don't make it too flat, otherwise you cannot downsize it. And choose a black color for it. Okay, now it looks much better. When I build screens, I usually just make a copy of it, make it a little bit smaller and change it into this light blue, and then it really looks, this one, like a running screen. And here I built the lens for the camera, put it in front, and yeah, looks good. A little bit more out. Yes. For making everything a little bit more neat, I copied the logo from outside the door and then just paste it on the camera like this. It saves a lot of time if you can reuse the items you already have built. And now the connection between the legs and the camera itself. I often find a little bit difficult to adjust it into the middle, so what I do is I usually just pull it down like this, and then you can actually see quite well if it's in the center or not. Yeah, it looks quite nice now. It's the same for the camera. I just put the column through it. So if you look from the other angle, you can see very well that's a little bit to left. If you only want to adjust the x-axis, you can actually also use this red arrow. So the next thing I want to do is to build some bookshelf for a library. For this, I first make this side wall, adjust the size so that it makes reasonable height and width. Now I built the shelf itself. Make sure it's flat enough. Change the color into some wooden surface, also for the other side with the other item. I make it white so that it matches. If you have the snap enabled, it will match very well. The middle part I make a little bit higher, and this horizontal part I just copied down. Now I add the part on the side. This will also helps me to make it the whole thing more exact. If you use the snap modus, it will be easy to just turn it around for 90 degrees. I put it up and now it matches. So here you just use the snap modus again, it can match very well. So left side and right side doesn't need to be so exact because nobody sees it, but what it should focus on is that the edges actually fit together. So now copy this side to the other side, and the bookshelf finally is finished. Quite fast, huh? But the bookshelf should not be empty, so we put in some books. For this I use a cube, make it smaller and put it inside like this. Make it thinner, change the color. If you have so small items, it actually doesn't really matter what color you use, almost everything will look like a book. I copy it, change the size a little bit, makes them a little bit higher or thicker. It doesn't really matter, but it's just important that every book looks a bit different, that it have a different color. Copy the next one, also make it a bit a different color. This one will be red, and it also looks good if not all of them are flat, so you can actually just tilt some of the books a little bit. I think that looks much more natural. Make it maybe gray or blue. So basically you see kind of all colors look good. Blue. Yeah, this one is not bad. Or let's see what else we have. Gray, nah. Yeah, this one is actually quite nice because it looks like it's like a real book. So what you see is I always make it a little bit longer so that they look out on the other side. The reason for this is that I can I can save polygons if I do like this, because if you want to build a bigger map, it's very easily that you use up all the available polygons. Add another book. So once I have maybe 5 or 6 different books, what I do is I mark the whole thing and copy them like this, because I think after you have 5 or 6 books, it's not so obvious that it's just repeated. I copy it maybe 4 or 5 times until the whole level is full of books like this. If some books stand out too much, I just change the color of some so that it doesn't look too much repetitive, sorry. And then for the upper floor, for the upper level, I just mark all the books like here and copy them up. However, I don't want them to look exactly the same, so when they're on top, I just turn them around for 180 degrees and no one actually really sees that it's 2 times the same pattern. Okay, not bad. How do you think? You probably have noticed that I built the bookshelf on top of the building on the rooftop. The reason for this is just easier to make it because you don't accidentally change the background. So I just build it on top and then move it to the place it has to go. So here my little library will stand. So I put it, make it a little bit smaller to adjust the size, maybe it's a little bit too tall. And then I just copy the whole thing like here. One more time to here. So it's, yeah, maybe a little bit too much space between or here, and then copy a 4th time. So now you can see in 5 minutes I just decorated a whole library.